Hi, everyone. Happy 4th of July week. We are here for another comic book market report kicking off the month of July, looking back at some of the hotter books in the past, I would say 2 years. Some of these books did kind of catch heat over a 2 year period. A couple mainstay books that I've been on the lookout for, and some newer ones that have caught heat lately, which you've been seeing on a lot of top 10 lists, um, and a lot of people trying to yes to FOMO, which is what we love to do here. And not so much a recommendation to buy these books, but just if you are on the lookout for these books currently, as of Monday, July 1st, 2024, this is what the market is saying via eBay sales and all that. So I hope you guys are all enjoying your week. And if you could do me a huge favor, hit that like button, subscribe, watch all of the content that we provide for you guys. We're trying to get to 700 subscribers and then all elusive 3,000 hours viewed to get monetized for super chats. It's been a fun year so far. A very interesting year. I always have my doubts about the comic book market, but it always ceases to amaze me how people are still enthusiastic about newer books. They're still going to LCSs on Wednesdays and getting that 1 in 25 ratio. There hasn't been a ton of great stories lately. However, 2024 has had a lot of quality stories in the past year, but lately in the past month or so, I would say the exception of Doom, there haven't been amazing stories that I've read, but we did start off with kind of a very hot, if not white hot, start to the year as far as stories are concerned. But I'll shut up and I'll get into this list. But again, I do appreciate your guys' support throughout the year and a half we've been doing the show. And hopefully you guys enjoy this show. So I have about 10 books here today. Not a huge report. I wanted to kind of keep it short just for the July 4th holiday, which is Thursday. I know a lot of people are out. So if you are watching this, I do really enjoy your support and really appreciate it as well. So first up, I was looking at some top 10 reports from a couple years ago, and ASM 503 was one of those dollar bin books that caught fire. I remember looking back on this and I saw sales of 15 to 25 back in 2022, I want to say. It's the first appearance of Tess Black, who I have no idea who that is. I remember this run was a fun. I remember the 500 issues were a pretty fun run for Amazing Spider-Man. Great art, Romita Jr. stuff, and I think there's Straczynski. Oh, he did write this issue. Look, it says right there. Um, it was kind of one of those one-offs that caught heat and then just died down really quick when supply overseeded demand. And I haven't heard anything about this book. Like I said, I haven't heard anything about this book in the past, gosh, year and a half. I actually forgot about it when I was researching books to talk about. And yeah, I'm just curious. I haven't looked at any of the market for this book at all or any of the books on this list. So we're kind of doing this in real time. So it looks like, yeah, 4.99. So Tess is the daughter of Loki. So I gotta imagine with season 2 kind of stuff. This book is almost 20 years old. Oh, it is 20 years old, I guess. Came out in 2004. 880, 1095, 999. I don't see. I wonder if there's any graded copies. Let's see. UGC. There's a 9.6 going for 200. $30 for a 9.4. My comic truck has this listed for a 9.8 for $145. Let's take a look at the last solds because we don't look at listings all that much or take it with a grain of salt. Let's see. So 129 about a couple months ago for essentially $100. First appearance of Morrowind, Loki, white page. Okay, cool. So I guess that was definitely not something that people are looking for anymore. So if you are on the hunt for this book, I would probably wouldn't pay more than $3 for it. That's including shipping. So go hunt those long boxes. It may have showed up again. And yeah, that's another example of rumors kind of hitting these dollar issues, spiking up and faltering. So we'll see. It's how you gotta play the game sometimes, though. This is a grail of mine, so I want to put on the list because I was just curious of how much it's going for. But ASM 300, the Chromium version, I've talked about this on many shows in the past. It is, again, I probably talked about it a month ago, but I was a huge lover of Chromium books back in the day, and this is probably a reprint that I probably would go for any of these Marvel reprints in Chromium in 9.8. I have one. I have the Avengers 1 for the Kurt Busiek and George Perez run from back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I'm pretty happy with that one, but this is like definitely a grail. You all know, again, it's first appearance of Venom. When I was looking at some in March, 9.8s were going for about $800, which I thought was very reasonable for this book. This book goes for a pretty good premium. So let's take a look. I'll do the first solds first, or the solds first here. Okay. Wow, $8.95 for buy now for 9.6, 9.8. So that's healthy. That was a couple months ago. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. Here's some raws here. 450. And I mean, this book has been reprinted quite a bit. So when I'm searching for this, it's kind of hard to find in general because it gets coupled in with a bunch of other listings that aren't really, what I'm looking for. 11.45 for a 9.8. This guy wants pandemic prices for a 9.8. And wow, this is kind of cool to see. There's no other listings other than graded copies of this book. So Chromiums aren't necessarily the easiest thing to get a 9.8 in, by the way. So for me, my bottom price that I would pay for this is probably $7.50, and that's kind of where I want to be. I'm not really banking on this boosting up in price. This is essentially just a book I've always loved. I love Chromium, but I never had like a huge inkling for ASM 300. Albeit it is a very liquid book and one that everyone seems to want to have in their collection. So there you have it, ASM 300, the Chromium version. Next up, this one, for obvious reasons, caught major fire when it came out. I remember this book going for like 200 to 300 a week or so after it came out. Every list was talking about it. I fell asleep on this book. I don't really know how you could have got this book. Like I know it was a variant, but I wasn't sure if it was like a 1 in 10 or what have you. But I don't know. I'm not sure what the long-term ability of this book is, but let's take a look. Deadpool 1, Biggie. Okay, so wow, that's kind of cool. Not mad at that one. Care Bears, Killer Care Bears. 160 for a raw. And this book came back in 2022. So again, like these are 2022 deals. 150 for best offer. I wonder this will kind of catch a little bit more fire because Deadpool's coming out. 207.50 for a 9.8. So this is one of those examples like either you should have sold quickly or you may have got killed if you got in kind of or unalived if you got in late or were hoping to flip this for whatever. I still think it's a great cover. I thought it was a great idea. Oh, let me share this real quick. So yeah, 207.50 for a 9.8 this past weekend. 324.99 about a month ago. This doesn't go for on listings. It's not very liquid. I think it's people just want the book. They don't want to sell it, or if they are, they want quite a bit, which is fair. I thought it was a great idea when it came out initially, and it seems to be holding a little bit of value, but definitely the deal was to buy this raw, maybe get find it like at your local shop and then flip it right away. This book was going for a lot of money back in 2022, kind of after the pandemic money was gone and done with. So next book, Blade Vamp Nation, the variant edition. This book was hot out the gate for $30 when we talked about this on the show a while back on a different podcast I was on. Shout out to the Tales from the Flip Side crew. Those dudes are awesome. Catch them on Monday evenings at 6:00, I believe. And then I think they have their Immersive Not report on Tuesdays. So the story was horrible. I remember reading this and being like, this is definitely gonna be a cover. A cover buy, not so much a story buy. The one thing I would say about this cover was it was pretty amazing. It was on good paper. It was on kind of glossy, and so if you had a spine tick, it was really tough to get rid of it because the heating process of this book would almost ruin it. It's kind of funny because like I kind of liked the old paper because you could manipulate it a little bit easier, but nonetheless, yeah, this book is kind of tough at 9.8. To be honest, I think I tried sending one, I got 9.6 back. But let's take a look at the market on this book. Let's see, Blade. Nation 1 variant. 2016, 526. Holy cow, 1 in 25. Now, talk about just a bad spec book. 119.99. Let's see here. 49.99. That guy's not gonna get shit next to that. $50. Yeah, this book is I gotta think maybe because of the Blade, news come the MCU. It's just like in production hell right now. So I don't think. Yeah, I mean, if you just like the cover, buy it for $5. For 1 in 25 to drop down that much, even 2 years later, with all the hype surrounded by it, man, that's tough. But yeah, nonetheless, Blade Vampire Nation, the 1 in 25 Delato variant. We're about 11 minutes into the show. I just want to thank everyone for supporting the channel, network, whatever you want to call it. I try and do these market updates every Monday to get to y'all. So please hit that like button, subscribe, tell all your friends about our show. It takes you about 2 seconds to hit the like button, but I do appreciate everyone taking their time and a half hour out of these episodes that I do, taking the time to watch the content that we provide here on the network. And thanks for watching. All right, next up we got Venom number 7. This was the best, most fun run of comic books I've read in the past 10 years, 100%. You could take this omnibus or trade paperback of issues 1 through 33 and just read it over and over again. It still holds true to this day. Donny Cates, this was his greatest run ever from 2018 to 2022, I want to say. It ended kind of weak, but man, he did such a great job of character development, introducing new characters, but not too many new characters, and just kind of keeping it relevant for people as collectors to go back and get these issues. But in particular, I thought this was the strongest character, even stronger than Null. Eddie Brock's son Dylan's first appearance in Venom number 7. There's a couple covers of this book, so I want to look over them a little bit later, or after we look. But when I did see the list for this guy, yeah, they were going for about $20 to $70. And let's see 2018, because I guess it's not. So 20, I mean, still garnering that premium asking wise, at least. Maybe I'll put Dylan in there. There's a second print, as you can see there. 9.6 going for 80, best offer, $100. Not mad at that. If you're a Venom collector, like, I'd probably go after that guy, honestly. I may go after it anyway. Yeah, 9.8's going for $85. Wow, that's pretty good. $52.99. Let's see. All right, $54.99 for a first app, Dylan Brock. Wow, that's really cheap. $60, $68 of a signed Stegman. Let's see. I can't remember if there's variants of this book or not. It might be number 9. There was the animation variant that went for quite a bit. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's the animation variant. That was such a cool cover. And some people consider the 9 cover the one to get. I'd go with both, honestly. This was a cool cover too. It's one of those arguments of what's the first and first full. So 9.6, that guy's asking way too much for it. And the thing with this animation cover was hard to get in 9.8. I think I got a 9.8 sold for like $450 back in the day. That was kind of cool. Sweet. All right. Well, Venom number 7, first cameo, I guess you'd call it. But I mean, I feel like this is like the better appearance to get him in. Venom 9, if you're going to get the Venom 9, I'd go for the animation variant because it's cheaper. But man, for $50 for a 9.8, why not, right? It's a cool cover too. So I think it does pretty well. Presents pretty well. Sticking on the Spider-Man Venom universe, Kid Venom Origins number 1. This was Marvel's kind of foray into manga, whatever you want to call it. It was $23 out the gate, I was not a buyer of this book at all. I didn't believe in the yes to FOMO action in this guy, but let's take a look here. Kid Venom, Orange is #1. I don't know if there's any variants on this book, but okay, I guess there's an origin right there. I would not slab this book either. 9/8 going for 118.70 asking. $50, 44.95. I don't know if that's just people thinking it's worth that much. I mean, you can put a price on anything you sell, on eBay, but you gotta sell it. So 24.95, $25, 17.50. So it's come down a little bit. I didn't hear a lot about this book after it came out. So $14 for a raw dog. I gotta imagine 90s aren't going for that much. I also gotta imagine that there weren't a lot of shops carrying this book. 120 about a month ago. Maybe it's going for 100. Man, I'd rather go the Dylan Brock, honestly. But yeah, Kid Venom Origins. I wasn't really a big buyer of this book. I wasn't a big buyer at all, period. So, but if you are on the lookout for this book, you're gonna get a little bit of a discount. I still think it's a $5 book, in my opinion. They haven't done really continued anything with this book, which tells me that there wasn't a lot of fanfare with it. And yeah, for a book that came out, when was this? 2023. Yeah, I think people just forgot about this book. All right, on to the next. Grindhouse Drive-In Bleed Out #5. Now, I think this was Nicki Minaj's. Let's see here. Grindhouse. I'm making #5. Okay, Grindhouse. What's the name of this book? Grindhouse Drive-In Bleed Out. Drive-In Bleed Out #5. Okay, so here is. There was some info on this. So Nicki Minaj's company optioned this book a long time ago. This book came out in 2015. So it bumped like $50, I remember. And I think you have a little bit of Dark Horse printing scarcity in this regard. Grindhouse. #5. It'd be funny. So it's still holding 35. Well, that's best offer. 14.99. Not a lot of sales on this book. So I guess the way to go is just to hold on to this at this point. With these options, when a actor's production company takes over a comic, it might take like 3 or 4 years. I mean, this book came out in 2015. So if you're holding on to it for that long of a time, then maybe it's time to sell it when the option news comes out. But they may not even produce it. It depends on the market. It depends on actors. It depends on writing, all that stuff. But essentially, it's like, I remember back in the day, people used to like register or like buy up domain names and then wait for someone just to like buy it, right? I feel like it's kind of the thing with option news when a production company buys the rights to it. They may pay 200 grand for the rights to it and the writer's gone, or they may say, hey, writer. And I think when option news comes out and the production company retains the writer, that's more of a sure thing than they just option the rights, but there's no news after that. So I'd be cautious. I would look up more stuff, when a book does get optioned, but the market always pops when a independent publisher published book gets optioned with the hope that it comes to the big screen, which it may never do. So anyway, just be cautious out there. Fool on you, shame me once, fool on me, shame me twice, kind of thing. Young Allies, the Art Adams variant. Before I get into this book, we're almost about 20 minutes into this episode of the comic book market report. Again, if you guys could all click that like button, subscribe, tell all your friends about the show. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, this is what I would call a modern grail. I'm just going to type in Young Allies, Art Adam. Art. I've never seen this book, man. Art Adams. Holy cow. 9/8 is going for 65 asking. This book came out in 2011. I did not know that. Okay, let's keep going. All right. Man, there are no listings of this book. That is amazing. So, if you have this book, man, congratulations. Because I think I remember seeing this only going for 200 to 300 a couple years ago. That's an amazing cover, and who would have thunk it, you know? Um, wow, I'm dumbfounded. That's, like, up there with Darth Lopez's Captain Marvel variant that he's been on the hunt for. Holy cow, that's a modern grail. That's a definition of a modern grail right there. Um, and Art Adams, man, this is probably your best cover. Honestly, I can't think of another Art Adams cover that's come out that's been like, oh, that one's better than the Young Allays variant. No, no, this is the one. So, um, nonetheless, I mean, I don't really have a lot of data to go over, but that's great if you have this book. Shout out to anyone that does have this book. If you are watching this episode and you do have this book, put a comment in the comment section below. And yeah, just curious to anybody that has this book. Kind of a newer book this week, Blood Hunt #4, the 1 in 25 variant. When I saw the preview for this book a couple of months ago, man, I called it, man. Like I was like, this book is just that's the best variant out of all of them. I did pre-order it about a month ago, and I think I paid like $45 for it, and I just wanted it. I liked the homage. I liked the story of this book. This is truly just like I'm just gonna put it in my bin, and maybe I'll grade it. We'll see. Maybe I'll get it autographed. I wasn't trying to flip this book at all. But as you can see here, it's going for not a ton of money. So if you're trying to flip this book, you might just be holding on to this. That book is yours. I don't think you're making a ton of money. Trying to flip this book. I remember when I saw this, I was like, oh man, I gotta have it. And I'm not trying to buy multiple copies of this book either. I just love how it's like Home Dude's like, I mean, that's everyone's worst nightmare, right? I mean, they did a whole movie with this kind of scene, with Ryan Reynolds back a few years ago. I think the thing with Blood Hunt though, like with any other like variant kind of issues when you're trying to see if lightning will catch twice in a bottle, that kind of thing. You're just not gonna as you can kind of see, the first one caught lightning. The second one kind of did. And as we go forward with the end of this book, you're not really finding opportunities to pre-order FOC. I don't do that. I don't think it's smart to do it all the time. But this book definitely is just not. You're not gonna make any money off this trying to flip it. And I would definitely want to do #5. I'd probably wait if you're trying to get all of the homage covers or the 1 in 25s together. I'd probably wait until a little bit later. The story is amazing. I mean, if you're looking for a good read for 2024, Blood Hunt's a fun story. The villain is someone you didn't expect to be a villain, and it's a fun ride, man. I haven't bought the other issues. I bought the Dracula issues, but the main story is pretty rich. So there you have it, Blood Hunt #4, the variant that came out hot out the gate this week on a couple top 10 lists as well. So shout out to those guys. And yeah, our last book here. I'm sure everyone's seen this on a lot of Instagram posts and all that, but proof #1, this book has shot off like a cannon. The crazy spec in this book, it just reminds me of Umbrella Academy when those books were going crazy during the height of the comic book boom. This kind of reminds me of that kind of sci-fi kind of twist. But I think this has some staying value. I mean, I wouldn't try and I don't know if I'd invest quite a bit of money right now in this because it's not only is this optioned, it's written, it's being filmed, all that stuff from what I understand. It's a twist of X-Files and something else. I'm not really sure, but it's blasted during all this news that's coming out. I think I believe it's Netflix. Or maybe it's not Netflix. Let me see. Proof comic option. Okay. Aperture Entertainment option the graphic novel. So it's X-Files and Men in Black, I guess. And this book came out in 2007. So it's been around for a long time. Fox is the one developing it. That's a perfect marriage for that type of content. Uh, yeah, that's great. But let's look at the market because that's you guys don't care about that stuff. Okay, proof number one. Okay. That was a really, let's see here. Comics. And this negative burn 7 is actual first appearance, but it seems like everyone's gravitating towards this number 1 book. I don't see anything else. There's Dawn. Okay, let's see. 2007. Okay, so asking $100, asking $100, $69.99. I doubt anyone graded this book, so I'll be curious to see any graded copies of this. And I bet you, man, looking at that white and knowing that image, that paper catches a lot of dirt. Image first. Wow, that's kind of cool. Okay, that's a weird notification from eBay. Yeah, so you're getting this for about $100. I wonder what the story is about. It'd be cool to see. $39.99 in a fine. Yeah, I wonder what the I wonder what the CGCs are going to come out of this for. But I'll try and keep an eye out for the proof number 1 in CGC. But I doubt anyone's graded this book. I haven't taken a look at the census, but it'd be good to get those numbers. I bet a 9A would go for like $500 right now. So exciting news, though. If proof does actually come to fruition and comes to the big screen, I mean, like that's not the big screen, but the little screen, that's pretty cool. I think in the next couple weeks or so, we may see Deadpool cool down quite a bit, but it'll be. I want you should do like a spec show on Deadpool movie stuff that like they haven't talked about yet. Like, is this like the foray into X-Men? Or is this the foray into does Deadpool die? Is Ryan Reynolds done doing the Deadpool character? Probably not. I mean, there's too much money involved in it. But yeah, it'll be fun to see. I think the craziest thing that would happen is that Deadpool introduces Miles to the MCU. How crazy would that be? I don't know how they do it, but that'd be pretty crazy. Well, that's our show for today. Happy 4th of July, pre-4th of July, I guess you could say. And I do appreciate everyone's support. And again, if you guys could do me a favor, click that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. You'll have a great day. Take care.